Alright, so we had our first frost, and so we picked some of our pumpkins. It's about half the pumpkins that we grew this year. But we're switching to harvesting and collecting seeds, and after that first frost, I can show you what will survive a frost and what won't. The quail won't. So I got these guys inside with some lights. That'll keep them laying eggs. Everyone's in trios. But let's go look at the gardens, and I'll show you what will survive a frost and what won't. Most things next to this pond do pretty well, ponds being a big thermal mass, keeping the temperature more regular. It's one of the reasons to have ponds, besides adding humidity, and they're cool. But go a little farther away from the pond here. Well, the fruit trees seem to do fine. I'll skip over to the garden. Of course, cold crops, chard, lettuce, spinach, chives and green onions did fine. We had tons of zucchini and pumpkin plants, but we ripped those all out already. So all those melon plants, pumpkin, zucchini, squash, cucumber, they don't survive a frost. Sunflowers. What you're looking over here is a bunch of scarlet runner beans. When there's a frost, you want to water heavily and then cover with pretty much anything, sheets, plastic. And the core of these plants are okay. What you're looking at that looks dead is just sort of the outside. So if we have a nice Indian summer, we'll still be getting lots of beans. So beans so-so, pumpkins no, amaranth do okay. The corn got a little bit damaged in the leaves, but I think that they'll at least be able to plump up a little bit if we get a nice Indian summer here. Of course, in the greenhouse, so we got lots of nice plants. I don't know if these flowers will make it all the way to tomatoes, but in the greenhouse the nasturtium's alright, but they wouldn't be outside. And so there's the greenhouse. We put a lot of the melon vegetation in our compost pile, and looks like all the fruit trees are doing good. You can hear the pet raven in the background. Put in tons of fruit trees this year. But they all did well through the frost, and so did the berry bush. A few different berry bushes we put in this year and last year. The up against the house bathroom Greywater beans seem to do just fine. They did even better than those beans that were covered next to the greenhouse. So it must be being next to the house, as well as I can add some water really easily and help it through the frost. So there's the results for that grow project. Zinnias, sunflowers, scarlet runner beans don't survive the frost. I thought some of you guys might want to see the zinnias that we brought in. We cut them right before the frost. As you know, they don't make it through the frost. Cosmo's doing pretty good. Mullein. Some other little wildflowers. Yarrow. It's all doing good. And there's a zumpkin. It's when your zucchini cross-pollinates with a pumpkin. And then, well, the leaves are mostly dead on that, but that seems to be doing alright. We'll leave that on a little longer. With those melons, they can get one good freeze, and then you're supposed to harvest them. Otherwise they can get mushy. Oh, and time to start your cold crops. I think I'm glad the San Pedro cactus made it. I forgot this guy outside. I'll have to put him inside now. Blackberry bush doing good. Of course, evergreens. Hollyhocks. They're all doing nice. Made it through the frost. Virginia creeper, not so much. Strawberries doing great. Chives, they're doing awesome. Some more strawberries over there, doing really well. Green onion. Mustard greens all went to seed. This plant is a columbine flower. A couple different types of strawberries in here. There's two main categories of strawberries, June-bearing and ever-bearing. And for some reason this basil, all but one branch died. So I wonder what's going on with that branch. Dill. The dill is done. Let's go to another grow bed. This red bleeding amaranth might bounce back if we have a good Indian summer here. I think we're done with the main frost. It reseeded itself so crazy that it pushed out almost all of our corn. But these corn are almost done in here anyways. They got a little fried from the frost. And then, of course, all of our melons, all the pumpkin, we had to pull those all out. We had a ton of pumpkin around in here. We had some of the giant pumpkin. Those are pretty neat. You saw those at the beginning of the video there. And then that's pretty much all we had in this grow bed. I'll go to the other garden. I guess it's time to start using the cold frame again. It was more of a freeze than a frost actually that we had, but time to start using this device. So pretty much the same thing in this whole different area where scarlet runner beans, no. Corn might bounce back a little bit just to plump up some of those smaller ears. All the pumpkin and melon, all those leaves died in the frost. And then got a little bit different of a microclimate over here. This corn did a little better. That amaranth will keep going. Up against the fence there's a vine of pumpkin that looks like it's doing alright. Doubt anything will come of it. One zinnia in there. But otherwise, the zinnias die. Some wheat did alright. The cilantro, and the seeds are coriander, those all did good. There's some carrot down in there. That's still going. The kind of older, weaker alfalfa might have died, but otherwise it's doing alright. So, sure looks like the cilantro is doing just fine. So there's a few things that you know won't make a frost and a few that will.